We usually start our spiritual journeys very excited, ready to share it with the world. But we end up feeling isolated when we do share it with friends or family members, when our hopes are to really just show them how amazing it is, how freeing it feels, how peaceful we are. But we have to understand that everybody is not ready, and you aren't the only correct way. A lot of times we jump into our spiritual journey with big egos, not realizing that we're no different than the people knocking on our door trying to convert us to their religion. We have good intentions, but it's always ego based. We think our way is better and we just want to share it. And sometimes we don't even realize that it's our ego speaking when this happens, because we just genuinely feel so good that we want all of our loved ones and the people around us to feel this way also. But we have to remember that with 8 billion people in the world, there are 8 billion worlds. Everyone has their own colored glasses on, has their own perspective, has their own life path. So whereas you went on this road, a spiritual journey of unlocking the unknown, the occult, the hidden, on the other hand, there are people who are not meant to walk that path. That does not make you better. That does not make them worse. That does not make you right. That does not make them wrong. That is their life path. They weren't meant to choose that path. Maybe they were meant to stay on the material reality side of this life path. Maybe that's how their soul chose to be here. So when we go out of our way to try to pull people into our spiritual journey, not only are we affecting their life path, but we're also affecting our own. The more I've been in my spiritual journey, I've always been a hermit naturally to myself. I don't share things with friends or family that are deep to me. And I realized that I've never experienced what a lot of spiritual people experience as far as isolation, because I guess that I've always kind of been isolated when it comes to me internally. So if you're somebody who isn't internal and can stay inside, like if you're not an introvert, then I could see why it would be isolating, because you're so excited to share certain parts with the people that you love. But we have to remember the whole point of spirituality, the whole point of your spiritual journey is to go within. It's about you, understanding you. So when you start to incorporate other people into your journey, you'll end up stagnant in your journey and also conflicting their life path. Imagine, right? You are on your spiritual journey. That is your belief, that you strongly believe in it. And someone just comes to you, a friend, and they're just like, oh my gosh, I joined this religion and I feel so in tune, and I'm so peaceful. And I want you to experience this. This is all the stuff that's been happening to me. You have to come and join me. You're going to be pushed back. Like, what are you talking about? I have my own spiritual path. I have my own belief system. I don't believe in what you believe in. Don't force that upon me. I don't care what's happening to you. That's your life. And you see how that can be isolating to the person that's trying to bring you on. They'll feel isolated in that moment because they think they're doing good in that situation, when really they're operating out of ego and not realizing that's their life, their life path, their life journey. And your life path and your life journey is completely different. And that's why I believe a lot of friendships are broken during your spiritual journey. Of course, a lot of times people, before they get into their spiritual journey, they don't realize the toxicity around them. And once they start their spiritual journey, they start to see that the people that they thought were friends or thought were genuine family members were really toxic individuals, and they have to cut them out of their lives. Putting that aside, everyone doesn't have toxic people in their life. Sometimes there are people who are cut off who are genuinely good people, but because they're not a part of our life journey, our spiritual journey, then we think that we can't have them in our life anymore, when that's completely untrue. The truth is that you were just so eager, using your ego to try to pull them into a world that was meant just for you in your journey. and it caused blockage, it caused isolation, it caused them to become distant and you to become distant because you don't understand why they don't understand. But they're not meant to understand. They're not meant to understand. You were meant to understand your life path, and they were meant to understand theirs. There are a lot of things that they have been through that you wouldn't understand because you guys are in two different worlds. You have two totally different perspectives. Now, with that being said, if you already have a spiritual support system, people that are already on their journey, in their journey, can relate, can like also share their experience with you. Some a group of people or someone that you can evolve with, that's totally different. But a lot of times we start our spiritual journey alone. We don't have spiritual guiders. We don't have people who can guide us and connect with us and understand us already in our lives. But if you do, then that's totally different. I'm speaking about people who are still not on that journey, because we have to remember that what takes you 1 year may take someone else 6 months, or someone else 10 years, or someone else may never get to experience that in this lifetime. And nobody's right, nobody's better than the other, nobody's wrong. That's just them. It just is. But on the flip side of stop telling people about your spiritual journey, that goes also to when you are isolated, in the sense you don't have anyone to talk to. A lot of times we are so eager to force spiritual relationships with people that we find online or in person, going to specific events where we could have spiritual friends. But a lot of times when we move off of force like that, just eager to find a type of connection, that allows for the manipulators to see us and spot their next victim. A lot of times when we're starting our spiritual journey, we are extremely vulnerable because we don't know everything. We're new, and we almost have like those doe eyes where we're just like, oh my God, like this is amazing. I want to learn more. I need to find some spiritual friends. Let me go like find a Facebook group, or go out to this like meetup, or do X, Y, and Z. And a lot of times we get entangled with people who have ill intent. When we first start our spiritual journey, the first thing that we need to focus on is ourselves. We need to focus on knowledge, focus on internal learning us, building that confidence and trust within ourselves, and building discernment before anything else, before we start seeking outside help or guidance or finding friends. Because a lot of times you don't even need to do that, because once you focus on you, you do the work for yourself, you learn yourself, you do things that better yourself, you start to attract those people naturally to you, so you don't have to go out seeking and searching. They come to you with ease. When you force relationships, 9 times out of 10, it's not going to be for the betterment of yourself. Balancing the spiritual side of you and the material or reality side of you, spirit and soul. I think that's very important. And a lot of times when we start our spiritual journey, we dive headfirst into the spiritual side, and we completely want to like cross out and think that the reality, our material world around us is like wrong, and we have to just get rid of it and just have to become these spirits that ascend up, when really it's all about balance. Because you can easily enter into spiritual psychosis when you are so focused and funneled on that side, if you don't have true balance, one foot on both sides. For those of you who are new, my name is Elle. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Leave some comments down below so I can chat with you guys, and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.